He cooked for her alien kids every day. Had no idea she was their queen. The Cybernova outpost sat on the edge of a terraformed coastline, where steel cranes scraped against a sky bruised orange and violet by the setting sun. Steam hissed from refinery vents, and the clang of construction never truly stopped. But for Daniel Hayes, the best part of the day always came at dusk. He wiped his hands on his apron and checked the pot bubbling on the portable stove beside his workstation. Vegetable stew, thick with potatoes and roasted root vegetables. The same recipe his grandmother used to make back on Earth, before the colony ships, before any of this. "Same time every evening, huh?" he called out, grinning as three small figures approached from across the yard. "Come on, kids. Soup's hot. Grab your cups before it gets cold." The children came running. Kiro, the green-skinned one with a mischievous grin, Nyla, bright-eyed and giggling, and Torin, quieter, always the last to speak but the first to smile. They weren't human. Everyone at the outpost knew that. Pale-skinned, sharp-eared, with faint glowing markings that pulsed gently under their skin. Refugees, the foreman had said, from a settlement displaced by the war out near the outer colonies. Nobody asked questions. Out here on the frontier you didn't. Had started 3 months ago. Daniel had found them scavenging near the supply depot, thin and scared, hiding from the construction crews who didn't take kindly to outsiders. He'd given them his lunch that day. The next evening they came back. And the evening after that. Soon it became routine. Daniel cooking a little extra, the children waiting by the edge of the worksite at sunset, cups in hand. He never told the foreman. He never told anyone. It was just his thing, a quiet kindness in a hard, loud place. Tonight, though, something was different. As Daniel ladled the stew into Nyla's cup, he noticed a fourth figure standing near the children, someone who hadn't been there before. Tall, draped in a silver-blue robe that seemed to shimmer even in the dying light, with long silver-white hair cascading past her shoulders. Glowing markings traced delicate patterns across her face and down her neck, and a golden crescent pendant rested at her collarbone. She was beautiful in a way that didn't quite belong to this world, and Daniel realized with a small jolt that she didn't belong to this world. "Evening," he said, straightening up, suddenly self-conscious about the stains on his apron. "You, with the kids." The woman studied him for a long moment. Her eyes, a soft, luminous blue, moved from his face to the pot, to the children now happily sipping from their cups, to the worn ladle in his hand. "My name is Celine," she said finally, her voice calm, measured, carrying a strange resonance. "These children are under my care. I came to see who has been feeding them every evening for the past 3 months." Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. "Ah, yeah, that's me. Daniel Hayes. I hope that was okay. They looked hungry and I had extra so." "It was more than okay," Celine said, and for the first time, the regal composure on her face softened into something gentler. "Do you know who I am, Daniel?" He blinked. "Should I?" A small laugh, surprised, almost disbelieving, escaped her. "No," she said slowly. "I suppose you shouldn't. Not out here." She knelt down beside Torin, placing a protective hand on his shoulder. "These children are not refugees from a war, Daniel. They are the heirs of the Vey lineage, and I am their mother. I am also the reigning queen of the Ashen Vey, displaced when our settlement ship was damaged during transit. We have been hiding here among your people, waiting for rescue from our fleet." Daniel's mouth went dry. He looked at the children, really looked at them, the way they carried themselves, the quiet dignity even in their playfulness, the markings that he'd always assumed were just decoration. "You're a queen," he repeated, the word feeling absurd in his mouth. "And I've just been Giving you guys soup. You've been giving my children food, safety and kindness every single day, expecting nothing in return, Celine said. While my own people debated whether revealing ourselves would bring danger to this outpost, you simply fed us. No questions. No demands. Daniel set the ladle down, suddenly feeling very small standing in his stained apron before a queen of another world. I didn't know, he said quietly. If I had, You would have done exactly the same thing, Celine interrupted, and there was warmth in her voice now. That is precisely why it mattered. Behind her, the construction site rumbled on. Cranes swinging, workers shouting orders, oblivious to the conversation happening just beyond the floodlights. The sun dipped lower, painting the steam clouds gold. Our rescue fleet arrives in 3 days, Celine continued. When we leave, I want you to know, the Ashen Vey do not forget kindness, especially kindness given without knowledge of what it might earn. I wasn't doing it for anything, Daniel said. I just didn't want them to go hungry. I know, Celine said softly. That is exactly why this gift matters. She reached toward her pendant, the golden crescent, and unclasped it. She pressed it gently into Daniel's palm. This is a relic of my house. When our fleet returns, and it will return to this region one day, show this, and you will always have safe passage among the Ashen Vey. As a friend, as family if you wish it. Daniel stared at the pendant, warm from her skin, glowing faintly even in his rough hand. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Celine said, smiling. Just keep making that soup. Kiro has requested it twice this week alone. Kiro grinned, holding up his empty cup. Can I have more? Daniel laughed a real laugh, releasing the tension of the last few minutes, and reached for the ladle. Of course, buddy. Of course. 3 days later, under a sky streaked with the fire of an arriving fleet's entry burn, Daniel stood at the edge of the outpost and watched 3 small figures and 1 tall, silver-haired woman board a shuttle that gleamed like nothing he'd ever seen. Before the ramp closed, Nyla turned and waved. Daniel waved back, the golden pendant warm against his chest. He never saw them again, not for years. But he never stopped cooking that stew. And sometimes on quiet evenings, he swore the wind carried the faint sound of children's laughter across the steel and steam of Cybernova.